Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. EJ denies Stefan's interest and afterward tracks down Nicole in Eric's arms. Chad and Julie race down the Horton house steps to Everett, beating on the entryway. The newsman energetically lets them know that Holly Jonas OD'd the previous evening. As the triplet regrets Salem's medication emergency, Everett announces they need to bust this story completely open. At home, Sloane and Eric wonder over Jude staying asleep for the entire evening, yet miss giving him a container and shaking him to rest. Eric needs to relish the experiences, taking into account he missed them with Mickey and Holly, who were both more established when he came into their lives. Eric proceeds with that Holly was shrewd and inquisitive, and he realized she'd accomplished something incredible with her life. Sloane is certain Nicole's truly glad. Eric affirms that Holly is her unparalleled delight. More, Days 2023, a year in review. Nicole sits by Holly's bedside and wonders how she missed that Holly was unhappy or even okay. Crying, she requests that her lethargic girl excuse her. In the emergency clinic hall, Marlena tells Kayla that Tate's been captured for ownership of the medications that caused Holly's excess. Marlena doesn't have the foggiest idea how Nicole will continue on the off chance that she loses her girl. Kayla doesn't have the foggiest idea how Tate will, if he's liable to think. More, on the loading dock of the bistro, a bachelorette couple separates, and EJ vehemently blames Stefan for Holly's condition. Stefan answers that it's EJ's problem for not assisting him with Clyde when he inquired. EJ thunders that Stefan's running bound medicates and jeopardizing the existences of Salemites, all for the sake of safeguarding Gabby. He wonders why Stefan should not be arrested right away. In Holly's room, Kayla tells Nicole the medications are out of Holly's framework and there's solid cerebrum capability, yet she needs to remain on the ventilator. Marlena can't envision how troublesome this is for Nicole. It's also hard for EJ, who is determined to make someone pay, Nicole says. She is sorry because she is aware that the person is Tate. Marlena is, as well, particularly since Tate has never been engaged with drugs. Nicole never figured Holly would utilize All Things Considered. She attributes her failure to pay attention to the situation to her own grief. As Kayla consoles Nicole, Marlena ventures out to call Eric about Holly. After Eric races out, Sloane gets a visa approval alert for $1,200 champagne. Bastard, she shouts. More Days Beginnings 2024 off withholding show. With Jude close by, Sloane busts into a hungover Leo's Salem motel room. She can't manage the cost of his silly ways of managing money. Also, they will set off Eric's doubts. Leo surrenders. He'll have his own burning through cash after making woman informant back ready. In any case, in the event that she doesn't play her cards accurately, he will spill her scandalous little tidbits all over Salem. On the dock, Stefan takes steps to embroil his sibling. Would it be advisable for him he capture him? He says that Clyde Weston is their common foe, and EJ is the only one who can help them get rid of him unless he wants Nicole to learn that he did nothing to keep drugs off the streets. Stefan can't put the blame on EJ. Now that he has made his decision, it is time for him to clean up this mess on his own. On the off chance that he doesn't, EJ will bring him down for good. After seriously quarreling, Stefan genuinely tells EJ his heart breaks for Holly, Nicole, and him, particularly after the deficiency of his child. Additionally, that breaks his heart. At the point when Eric comes to Holly's room, Nicole cries that her heart can't take losing another youngster. Eric embraces her. She flees, refusing to accept that Holly will not have a future. Holly begins to seize as Eric prays with her. More, on GH, Laura Wright gives a preview of Bobby's death. Chad wires $5,000 in petty cash to Everett so he can pay off informants. After he goes out, Julie inquires as to whether he's concerned Everett's endangering himself. Chad shares Everett's previous covering the Israel and Lebanon battle as a youthful, bold writer. He's an incredible columnist for whom Chad has a great deal of regard. Julie observes that Everett's return to Stephanie's life must have been difficult, and she is impressed that he can see that. Chad lets it be known, yet he's thankful Everett's on staff on the grounds that the paper implied such a huge amount to Abigail. Besides, a story will ideally make the city more secure for his children and for everybody in Salem. Julie realizes Abigail would be so pleased with him. She's pleased with him as well. At the Salem motel, Sloane puts Leo on a month-to-month payment. She arranges him to make it last on the grounds that the ride closes for him, assuming she goes belly up. Leo is offended over being placed on a tight spending plan, yet concurs so the two of them get what they need. Outside the bistro, EJ rejects Stefan's sincere announcements. He won't ever pardon him as far as it matters for him, in adding to the horrifying aggravation his significant other has proactively endured. Everett walks to the dock. He acquaints himself with EJ, who he trusts possesses energy for a couple of inquiries. "I don't," EJ tersely says, leaving. More, DWTS alum tends to undertaking bits of hearsay. Everett acquaints himself with Stefan and requests an assertion about the occasions at the party. Stefan is upset for what occurred, yet he doesn't have command over individuals' proclivities. Be that as it may, they are adding additional security to the property. When asked, Stefan straight states he doesn't feel answerable for what befell Holly, yet he feels disheartened for herself as well as her mom. Chad tells Julie at the Horton house that he still hopes to see or hear from Abigail. The additional time elapses, the seriously stunning it is to acknowledge he'll at absolutely no point ever see her face in the future. Julie lets him know Abigail will constantly be in his heart and in his kids, who she and Doug love. She welcomes Chad to move back in so they can assist with the children. Chad consents. Julie realizes Abigail's passing broken him, yet he has a full life in front of him, thus much love to give and get. She asks him to hold tight to that. After Kayla settles Holly, she tells Nicole as long as the seizure isn't repetitive or drawn out, it doesn't normally cause super durable mind harm. After she leaves, Eric tells Nicole he's there for herself and Holly. They embrace as EJ enters. Next on Days of Our Lives, Johnny and Chanel welcome 2024 with sentiment, while Tate keeping up with his account could demonstrate inconvenient. Everett's money request, Chad's move-in offer, EJ spies Nicole with Eric. Days of Our Lives uncovers that Everett Lynch frightened Chad DiMera and Julie Williams by banging and ringing at the Horton house entryway. Everett was conciliatory, yet he likewise felt this was earnest since Holly Jonas went too far the previous evening and was in a state of unconsciousness. The ongoing drug habit in Salem was deteriorating, so Everett was anxious to sort out who was mindful and bust the story completely open. To get street pharmacists and different lawbreakers to talk, Everett required a trivial money store. Everett's request for $5,000 on Wednesday's Days episode shocked Chad, but he agreed to give it to him. After Everett ran off to begin researching, Chad considered Everett having the option to deal with himself and educated Julie regarding Everett's news inclusion in Beirut. Julie was intrigued over Chad having the option to keep an expert connection with Everett, thinking about the conditions with Stephanie Johnson, Abigail Klein. Since Chad wasn't a couple with Stephanie any longer, he didn't understand the reason why he ought to think about Everett a danger. Chad also thought about his persistent belief that Abigail DiMera would return at times. The more Abigail was gone, the harder it was for Chad to acknowledge that he'd at absolutely no point ever see her face in the future. Julie brought up that she saw such a large amount Abigail and the children and inquired as to whether Chad would consider moving back in with them. Chad considered the thought briefly and in the end acknowledged, so Julie was excited. On the bistro's shipping bay, EJ DiMera faulted Stefan DiMera for assisting Clyde Weston with moving narcotic-bound medications and causing Holly's trial. Stefan contended that he was possibly attempting to safeguard Gabby DiMera and that if anybody somehow managed to fault, it was EJ for declining to assist him with disposing of Clyde. On Day's episode, EJ said to convince him why he shouldn't have Stefan captured. Stefan demanded that he'd embroil EJ on the off chance that he did, and it wouldn't be a stretch for anybody to accept since EJ was recently engaged with the medication business with Clyde. Nonetheless, Stefan conceded that his heart broke for Holly, Nicole, and EJ. Despite the fact that Stefan attempted to carry on like they were on a similar side, EJ didn't think Stefan was being true and kept on squabbling with him. In spite of the fact that Everett apparently heard nothing excessively implicating, he intruded on EJ and Stefan's discussion. Everett attempted to pose a few inquiries, yet EJ wouldn't answer any and left.